Coming up, the search for 3 Berry County inmates is turned over to U.S. Marshals.
In comes the rain, and from the west, we'll have the latest on flood warnings, and this thing's already spawned a severe thunderstorm watch. All the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And MSSU offers a new program to help adults complete their degrees.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but first, let's go to Michael Hayslip in the Skywatch Weather Center.
Yeah, already picking up some lightning, Tanya. It's been very sporadic, but as we take a live look over 7th and Range Line faced off to the west, we are seeing a strike out in the far distance every now and then. It's making its way through southeast Kansas right now, headed toward the Missouri state line. In between Fredonia, Parsons, we got a good one coming down. There we go in Independence as well. Like I said, some of the hardest rain riding the Oklahoma-Kansas state line. As far as the lightning tracker goes, those are strikes that we were able to pick up all the way from Joplin, looking out to the west right there. So it is very elevated, that is for sure, if you can see it that far away. As far as the watches and warnings go, here's where we stand right now. Now, if we were to throw on our what we call the old convective outlook, we're going to see that this one out here down by Oklahoma City and the panhandles, that is the one that earlier it just expired, as a matter of fact, not but 45 seconds ago. We had a severe thunderstorm watch associated with that. So that's great news that they've been able to lift that. But once again, the reason we're keeping our eyes on that is because of the high wind and even the hail that it threw down. Now granted, that was out in west Kansas and in the panhandle of Oklahoma, but still going to keep our eyes on that. Now, the positive aspect of this system is it is doing a good job braking as it heads toward us. Nice and warm outside as well, 69 degrees already with just a little southeasterly wind. I don't think wind's going to be too much of a problem as this thing rolls through. Very similar in nature to what we had yesterday, except the rain's going to last a little bit longer, and then we're going to warm up into the afternoon and get some pretty good humidity out of it. This is what I'm talking about as far as it breaking up as it moves through us. It's going to be sporadic even through the early afternoon hours though. And then as we get into tonight, very, very comfortable. But look at this. Oh, take a wild guess at what we're going to have tomorrow morning. You guessed it. Right back at it into the afternoon and evening hours. A little bit more widespread as well. After that, we'll taper off on Thursday, more rain on Friday. Big difference between Friday's front and what we've had past couple of days. That's actually going to bring us it is considered a cold front. I don't want to make you think we're going to drop some 20 degrees, nothing like that. But Saturday is going to be rather comfortable. We'll go high 70s with sunny skies, then warm back up for Sunday and Monday.
Yeah, I can't complain about the weekend. That should be nice.
So far, no county-wide flood warnings. They're just river-specific, same as yesterday, the fall of the Neosho, the little Osage. But so far, no county-wide flood warnings.
That's good. Let's keep it that way. All right, thanks, Michael. Well, the search for 3 Berry County, Missouri escaped inmates has been turned over to U.S. Marshals. 29-year-old Lance Stevens, 29-year-old Matthew Crawford, and 37-year-old Christopher Blevins escaped from the Berry County Jail Friday morning. Stevens was being held on drug charges and unlawful use of a weapon. Crawford was held on felony stealing, and Blevins on drug charges, vehicle tampering, and unlawful possession of a firearm. The 3 men are considered armed and dangerous. Authorities believe the escapees are no longer in the area, but if you spot them, you're urged to call 911 immediately. Joplin police released the name of a Carthage man killed in a crash on Interstate 44. The crash happened just before 2:30 Sunday morning. Police say 44-year-old Juan Fuentes Jr. was driving a motorized scooter in the outside lane of I-44 eastbound when he lost control, crashed, and was thrown from the scooter. Authorities say Fuentes was then struck by multiple passing vehicles. The crash closed the interstate for 3.5 hours. At last report, the Joplin Police Major Crash Team was still looking for witnesses who may have witnessed the initial crash. Well, some area kids are spending the week at Missouri Southern to have some fun. MSSU Kinesiology Department is hosting the 2022 Children's Lifetime Sports Academy. The academy is a way for kids to learn the skills of activities that can be played for fun, health, and fitness, golf, bowling, racket sports, canoeing, and more. All these activities are planned.
And it's really for the kids here, for them to come out for 4 days, have fun with their friends, and really enjoy themselves and have a good time.
The Academy is from 12:30 to 5 p.m. and will go into Thursday. An award presentation will also be held at 4:45 on Thursday to recognize outstanding campers of the week. Missouri Southern introduces a new program to help adults get their degrees. The university is launching a new adult degree completion program this fall. The new program will allow for greater flexibility for adult students to get their bachelor's or even master's degrees.
We know adult learners probably have other responsibilities, whether they're a parent or whether they're working full-time. So the experience needs to be a little bit different for them.
Mont says the initial degree that will be offered is a bachelor's in general studies with an emphasis in business. He says they plan to offer additional degree options as the program continues. Work on some electrical lines in Pittsburgh could soon lead to lane closures on some roads. The work will begin tomorrow and continue over the next few weeks. Work will begin at 530th Avenue and move east along Centennial Drive to Rouse Street. Once that work has been complete, crews will move north on Rouse and end on East Quincy Street. The work will be on weekdays and should be complete by June 29th, weather permitting. Well, some newcomers were on the campus at Pitt State on Monday. This was the first day for both new students and new president Daniel Shipp. Shipp is excited to begin the school year and meet more people in the community. His goal is to listen and learn and to lean in to try and further understand the uniqueness of Pittsburgh State University.
I think that higher education needs to talk about the value of the education. And so there's so much that gets packed into that. I think we lose that along the way, and we need to do a good job of telling our story.
President Shipp's 7-year-old son thinks gorillas are cool and gave his dad permission to come to Pittsburgh. Well, we thank you. An Iditarod sled dog who's been missing for nearly 3 months is found safe. Now, this is Leon. He's been reunited with his owner. He got out of his coat and collar and ran off from a checkpoint in the Alaskan race in mid-March. He was recently seen 150 miles away in the Alaskan town of McGrath. A community member was able to catch him. His owner, Musher Sebastian dos Santos Borges, lives in France. He flew to Anchorage this week after getting updates on the search. They were reunited with a kiss in McGrath. Leon needs to be checked out by a veterinarian and get a health certificate before he can fly home to France, though. Race officials are looking at ways to keep dogs from getting lost in the future. That could include GPS trackers on their collars.
I'm no sled dog expert. I'm surprised they actually don't already do that with the time, effort, and money that are invested in those dogs.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised about that. All right, Tanya, I want to focus in right over Independence, where we've got pretty strong thunderstorm activity here, packing a little lightning. We'll throw on the storm tracks. It's going to throw a bunch of numbers at you here. Most importantly, I want to look at the very, very bottom of it. Look at that rain coming down. That thing is, that's what you call cats and dogs right there. But this thing also has the possibility and even the probability, if you will, of dropping some hail. So central Montgomery, right there in the Independence area, progressing. It's progressing east toward Labette County. That's what we're focusing in on the immediate future. As we kind of readjust here, we'll take off the sweeping radar and go back, watching this system progress toward the state line. Luckily, there are portions of it that are breaking up as it moves to the east. I know that is of no consolation for those of you waking up with it right now, but I want to give everybody else an idea about where it's headed.
All right, that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, Joplin Outlaws play the St. Joseph Mustangs. We'll show you if the Outlaws had what it took to tame the Tangs. Plus, 2 sisters reach a milestone age of 102. I'm going to show you how one sister celebrated her milestone. And more cases of monkeypox have been confirmed. We'll have the latest numbers. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Joplin Outlaws 2-1 to start the season and looking for their third straight win at home, closing out a 4-game homestand and doing so against the defending Mink League champs, St. Joe's. It's the Mustangs that get going early in this one. Chopper up the middle. Chopper, baby. That scores 2, and then we keep it in the third inning. Check out Liam Bailey. Kid plays a little shortstop. Saw him in person. Absolutely love it. But the threat back in the fourth, Brady Holden into left field. That scores another run. And then Rob Butler gaps one. 6-0 Mustangs at this point. St. Joe completes the shutout. Wins it 10-0 in 8 innings. Major League action. Royals beginning a 3-game home series with the Toronto Blue Jays. Late start due to weather. Toronto took the lead in the fourth off a 2-run homer. Blue Jays end up shutting out the Royals 8-0. Toronto playing some of the best baseball in the majors right now. They have won 9 of their last 14. This season, an important time for the Missouri Southern women's soccer team as the Lions entering their first season under head coach Sharday Boswell. Boswell was hired in January of this year, and since then, the team's been taking advantage of opportunities like hosting this youth camp. Builds chemistry, builds camaraderie prior to the fall. Coach Boswell says getting to know players off the field, well, that helps the relationship on the field as well.
Just getting to know them, but also them getting to know me outside of just yelling at them on the field, just barking orders at them. I think once they gauge my personality, when they separate practice from me being off the field, I think they'll get a better understanding of who I am as a person and understand when I'm being hard on them, it's for their benefit.
U.S. Track and Field and Cross Country Coaches Association announcing their regional award winners, and the Pitt State men racking up honors in the Central region. For the outdoor track and field season, PSU's L.J. Kiner named the Central Region Field Athlete of the Year. Finished in the top 3 in both long jump and triple jump at the NCAA D2 Outdoor Championships. Kyle Rutledge is the Men's Coach of the Year. Rutledge been with the Gorillas for 10 seasons, but this year his first as the head coach. He led the program to its first outdoor national championship. And finally, Men's Assistant Coach of the Year goes to PSU's Jason Crow. Still to come on the KOAM Morning News, the United Kingdom testing out a 4-day work week. And a check on our 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. 5:17, roll a little weather on the 7s. Here we're going to have spotty shower activity for the duration of the morning into the early afternoon hours and even some pockets of some thunderstorms. So let's pick up where we're seeing our hardest of the rain right now, Montgomery County and the Independence area, where this thing is moving off to the east. It's packing a punch. We're not only talking about torrential rainfall, but also the good possibility of some hail coming with it as well. So far, no severe thunderstorm watches or warnings associated with it, but that's kind of the first and foremost, the one that we're looking at right there, is it takes pretty much an easterly track. May see a little southern variance to it. And then as we move up on to the northern section of the 4 states, the shower activity beginning to creep just toward Fort Scott as well and picking up a little action. What we'll see is really the northern portion of this is going to be more of the rainy type. It's where we get down to the south. Some of that hasn't even developed as of yet, and certainly some of it has, in Elk, Montgomery, Howard, Wilson counties, in those areas. And with that little southeasterly drop, it's going to head kind of toward I-44 here for the rest of the morning. As we stand right now, so far we're keeping all our flood warnings just to our rivers. We don't have any county-wide flood warnings, so let's call ourselves lucky on that. But to give you an idea of the severe thunderstorm risk map, it's going to be an active Midwest for the duration of our Tuesday. And that to the northwest there, that's more so for tonight than it is for this morning in the afternoon hours. So that's what we're talking about, shower activity really for the morning. Let's go back to 7th and Rangeline. It's very pleasant temperature-wise, 69 degrees. We've got even 73 up in Iola. Looks like our warm point right now. 67 is as low as we get. We are going to keep our eyes on some patchy fog as we push off to the east as well. Visibility numbers now dropping in Aurora and in Cassville, a result of the lack of cloud cover overnight and the growing Gulf moisture. Weather trend for today is similar in nature to yesterday, and that will warm up and get some sunshine late. This range just going to hold on to a little bit longer than yesterday's. You can tell it's sporadic into the afternoon hours. And then for Wednesday morning, here we go again as we reload and roll right back through about the same time frame. A little bit more widespread on Wednesday, however, before we get back into the 80s on Thursday. Time now for our Something to Talk About on the KOAM News Now Instapoll. A set of twins in a rare milestone. Eloise Lyons and her sister recently turned 102 years old. They talked to Alan Shope, sharing memories with her twin and her key to longevity.
What's your favorite birthday memory?
There's too many birthdays.
And on this day, it's number 102 for Eloise Lyons. Her favorite birthday memories with her twin sister.
We danced a little bit.
Oh, goodbye. And that's why folks at Glenwood Village in Overland Park threw a roaring 20s party. She says her key to longevity?
I don't know.
Her son Paul has an idea.
Taking everything in stride, she's been positive.
That and a daily shot of Scotch whiskey.
That's something that she's been doing for years and years.
Both twin sisters celebrating, one in San Francisco and one here. Eloise says both apparently did something right to get to 102.
Evidently we did.
At 102 years old, Eloise's generation has probably seen more change in this country and the world than just about anyone in the history of it.
When she was born, they just started flying airplanes. I can't imagine we'll ever see that happen again.
Birthday, dear Eloise. And even after 101 other birthday celebrations, this one can still get emotional. Happy birthday.
Now, Lyons lives in Kansas, her sister in San Francisco, but thanks to technology, they're still going to meet via Zoom on Saturday. Our question for you is one thing on your bucket list. Gave you several options on the Instapoll. We'll check in with your results, come back with Health Watch next.
Topping Health Watch this morning, the number of confirmed or probable cases of monkeypox rises to 31 in the U.S. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, those cases are in 12 states and Washington, D.C. And those numbers, as the numbers grow, health officials worry there could be community spread of the disease. That means infected people could give it to others in the U.S. To battle that, testing and vaccination is ramping up. More than 120 tests have been performed, and about 1,200 doses of the vaccine have been offered to people most at risk of contracting the disease. The 2-dose vaccine is the same as the one used to prevent smallpox. More than 600 cases of monkeypox have been identified in 26 countries. Pfizer is investing $120 million into production support for its COVID-19 antiviral treatment. Paxlovid has been hailed a game changer in the pandemic. It works best when used within a few days of symptoms beginning and can lower the risk of severe disease. The drug company is funneling the money into its Michigan manufacturing facility for the creation of Paxlovid. Pfizer says the funds will expand the production of the active ingredient and registered starting materials. This money will also create 250 additional jobs at the Kalamazoo site. Pfizer says the production of Paxlovid requires a significant amount of manufacturing capacity from start to finish. 12 million courses have been shipped to 37 countries, and that includes 5 million right here in the U.S. In total, nearly 17 million courses of Paxlovid have been manufactured. On average, around 38 children die every year after being left in a hot car. That's according to the Kids and Car Safety Organization. It's a tragedy that does not have to happen. Mandy Gaither has more on a push to make parents more aware of the dangers.
It can happen in a matter of minutes. As the sun beats down on a car, a danger rises up.
Children, in fact, they get overheated 3 to 5 times faster than adults. This can prove to be very, very deadly.
Leaving a child in the car, even for a quick errand, can be dangerous. Children's Healthcare of Atlanta's Strong for Life program says when it's 75 degrees, it takes 30 minutes for the inside of your car to hit 104 degrees. But the danger rises with the temperature. At 95 degrees outside, it takes 5 minutes for the inside to reach 102.
Children, they don't do a good job of sweating. They also dehydrate very, very quickly, and they don't evaporate the heat from their skin as efficiently as adults, which makes being in a hot environment, including being in a hot car, a particularly dangerous situation for small children and infants.
Pediatric emergency physician Dr. Manisha Agarwal says many times exhausted parents accidentally forget their child is in the car. Experts suggest buckling a stuffed animal in the front seat or putting something you need in the back seat with your child.
Some people say put one of your shoes back there. Some people say put your phone, put your purse, put your wallet. Hopefully it will trigger you to look back and notice, oh, my child is back there too. I need to do something.
Doctor says parents should call 911 immediately if there are signs of heat stroke in their child, and that can include confusion, nausea, loss of consciousness, lack of sweat, fast breathing and heartbeat, or seizure. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Coming up, the search for 3 Berry County inmates is turned over to U.S. Marshals.
Tuesday morning, thunderstorms already working their way into the 4 states. We'll have the latest on the threats of hail, lightning, and flooding from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And MSSU offers a new program to help adults complete their degrees.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 5:30. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories in just a moment. But first, we've got rain on the way, and we've got Michael Hayslip in the Skywatch Weather Center.
Tanya, I think this loop right here gives you an idea of how we were talking about on the far north, so the top of your screen there. The heaviest of the rain turns into more shower activity, but down to the south, you can tell right along the Kansas-Oklahoma state line, it does not give up. And then we've been tracking this one that is now moving out of Montgomery County into portions of Labette County. This is the one that has a high distinction of dropping some hail. It's already torrential rainfall. It's moving along Highway 160 and 166 as well. Once again, progressing right along the Kansas-Oklahoma state line towards southwest Missouri. As we kind of work our way backwards there, the heavy rain persisting all the way west of our highlighted counties. Gets a little bit better up to the north right there. And remember, with the sweeping radar, that's going to indicate the moisture. So it's yet to really cross the state line into southwest Missouri. As far as watches and warnings, ours stay more flood specific. We now see a severe thunderstorm warning pop up, but that's way down there in Oklahoma City. That'll track along I-40. That won't affect us. So far, even though this thing has the possibility of dropping some hail, have not had any warnings arrive. Wind, not really too much of a factor, so we'll call that a good thing. There's a live look over 7th and Range Line, and where the temperatures from 67 to 73, so nice and warm outside, but once again, that early morning warmth often provides the instability needed for the thunderstorms. Similar in nature to yesterday, the big difference is really going to be the location of our rain, not as widespread as what we had yesterday, more so staying down to the south, but timeline's a little different. Hangs on with sporadic showers until the afternoon. Then we get into Wednesday morning. This will be widespread. As this thing drops in from the northwest, we kind of see it combined with the system down to the south, just in time for tomorrow's drive, and should be done by the afternoon hours. 80s persist all the way into the weekend. Thursday, that's it. Thursday we'll get a break and keep that very slight chance for rain. Right back at it on Friday. Saturday and Sunday, though, shaping up to actually be delightful.
All right.
Just got to get to Saturday and Sunday and keep our heads above water in the meantime.
At least we got that light at the end of the tunnel and a little bit of sunshine in our future.
Yesterday afternoon didn't turn out to be too bad. I knew that humidity was going to creep up, though. You stepped outside about 4 or 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon / early evening. Yeah, you could feel it.
Will it be a repeat of that today then?
Certainly will.
All right. Get used to the heat and humidity. We got it. All right. Thanks, Michael. The search for 3 Berry County, Missouri escaped inmates has been turned over to U.S. Marshals. 29-year-old Lance Stevens, 29-year-old Matthew Crawford, and 37-year-old Christopher Blevins escaped from the Berry County Jail Friday morning. Stevens was being held on drug charges and unlawful use of a weapon. Crawford on felony stealing, and Blevins on drug charges, vehicle tampering, and unlawful possession of a firearm. The 3 men are considered armed and dangerous. Authorities believe the escapees are no longer in the area, but if you spot them, you're urged to call 911 immediately. Joplin police released the name of a Carthage man killed in a crash on Interstate 44. That crash happened just before 2:30 Sunday morning. Police say 44-year-old Juan Fuentes Jr. was driving a motorized scooter in the outside lane of I-44 eastbound when he lost control, crashed, and was thrown from the scooter. Authorities say Fuentes was then struck by multiple passing vehicles. The crash closed the interstate for 3.5 hours. At last report, the Joplin Police Major Crash Team was still looking for witnesses who may have witnessed the initial crash. A federal judge in Oklahoma says the state's three-drug lethal injection method is constitutional. The ruling paves the way for the state to request execution dates for more than 24 death row inmates who were plaintiffs in the case. Attorneys for those inmates are expected to appeal the ruling. They argue the first of the 3 drugs, the sedative midazolam, is not enough to render an inmate unable to feel pain. Attorneys for the state rejected that argument. It's a day for some new beginnings at Pitt State. An orientation program for new students also happened to coincide with the first day on the job for PSU President Daniel Shipp. Shipp says he's excited to begin the school year and meet more people in the community. His goal is to listen and lean in to try and understand further the unique DNA of Pittsburgh State University.
So I'm a big believer in what you learn in the classroom is helpful toward how you apply it out in the real world. And so I wanted to work and serve at an institution that really cared about that.
President Shipp says part of the reason he chose Pittsburgh was because his son thinks gorillas are cool. We do too. Well, for the first time in 5 years, Wonders of Wildlife in Springfield is being honored as one of the top tourist attractions in the country. The award comes after participants in a USA Today online poll selected Wonders of Wildlife's aquarium as the best in the nation. Leaders from across Missouri agree that recognition like this means a lot to Springfield and the entire region.
It's great to have that distinction here and to be able to do it 4 times in a row. You know, there's a lot of attractions out across this country. It's a big deal for our state.
It fits so well with our outdoor life here and what we hope to have people remember Springfield for when they come in. And then you talk about the economic driver that it is in the community. You just cannot overstate that.
Bass Pro officials also unveiled this artist rendering of a second video board that's in the works. They say the huge display will face the major Springfield intersection next to Wonders of Wildlife. Well, some area kids are spending the week at Missouri Southern to have some fun. The MSSU Kinesiology Department is hosting the 2022 Children's Lifetime Sports Academy. The academy is a great way for kids to learn the skills of activities that can be played for fun, health, and fitness. The goal is to also build teamwork skills for the kids.
Teamwork aspect of it, because we're in a group of 25. Every color has 25 people. So we have 4 supervisors in charge of 25, and really just have them do the teamwork aspect and really have fun and not show it has to be serious all the time.
The academy is from 12:30 p.m. to 5 p.m. and will go into Thursday. An award presentation will also be held at 4:45 on Thursday to recognize outstanding campers of the week. Missouri Southern State University is launching a new program to help adults earn their college degree. KOAM's Chris Warner has more.
For adults that didn't complete their college degree, going back to school isn't always something they can easily do.
We know adult learners probably have other responsibilities, whether they're a parent or whether they're working full-time. So the experience needs to be a little bit different for them.
So Missouri Southern State University is launching a new program called the Adult Degree Completion Program, which is aimed at helping those adults get back to school.
We are trying to create a program focused just on them. So the curriculum will be accelerated, 8 weeks online. We're trying to reduce any hurdles that they may have, either with admissions or the financial aid office, so that they get pretty much a tailored service for them.
The program kicks off in the fall 2022 semester, and the inaugural class is expected to be around 25 students. However, between now and then, there are still things the university has to adjust to accommodate the new program.
We do have policy about residence and how many hours you have to have here, but we are working with our faculty and our administration to try to determine what that policy will be for these folks.
Tuition costs will be the same as for other students, but there are options available for those who can't pay out of pocket.
Yeah, so financial aid is a little tricky as an adult learner. Some students still may be eligible for a Pell Grant if they hadn't used it all, if they had been in college before. But Missouri, the actual state, has several grants and programs, including Finish Line, to come back to school and finish a degree. And so there would be options like that for them.
In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
The Mount says the initial degree that will be offered is a bachelor's in general studies with an emphasis in business. He says they plan to offer additional degree options as the program continues. Here's Michael with a look at your forecast.
Showers creeping toward the Missouri state line. Southeast Kansas inundated with heavy rain on this Tuesday morning, especially our southern counties right along the Oklahoma state line. We can go to the storm tracks and kind of give you a better idea about where everything is moving. It's more of an east-southeasterly drop. It's I'm going to go more east, but you see that one right there, right in between Independence and Oswego. So that's right in the Montgomery County, Lebec County line. That's the one that we've really been tracking as far as the possibility of hail. And that's not to say we're not looking up to the north right there, because we've got another one right over Fort Scott that will move across Nevada and head toward I-49 as well. Eventually, we'll break everything up. Majority of our heavy rain, once again, will stay in the south. And then this afternoon, maybe early evening, even for the eastern edge of southwest Missouri, we'll get some sunshine. Just going to take a little bit longer than what we had yesterday.
There we go. Well, this morning, we're discussing Bucket List. A set of twins recently met a rare milestone, celebrating their 102nd birthday. And one of them lives in Kansas and the other lives in California. When asked what her favorite birthday memory was, the twin in Kansas, whose name is Eloise, said there was too many birthdays to remember and to pick her favorite birthday memory. So how did she celebrate her birthday? How about a party in the style of the Roaring '20s? Now, she may not have the answer for how to achieve longevity, but she's always remained positive and taken everything in stride. So that might be a key to living to 102 years old yourself. Well, this brings us to our something to talk about.
All right, our question, what's one thing on your bucket list? 30% going with the vaunted other, and then we're split 20% with travel, complete education, and make a positive change. You can take part each and every morning. KOAMnewsnow.com/vote, or connect to us via our Facebook page at KOAM News Now.
That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, a star of Netflix's The Tiger King sees federal charges brought against him. Plus, Boris Johnson faces a no confidence vote. We'll have the results. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping World Watch, United Kingdom Prime Minister Boris Johnson will not be forced out of office. He has survived a vote of no confidence. Johnson's fellow Conservatives voted 211 to 148 to keep him as both the head of the party and Prime Minister. 180 votes would have been required to kick him out. A group of discontented lawmakers in Johnson's party started the failed movement to remove him. Johnson has come under fire for parties thrown at the Prime Minister's residence while Britain was under lockdown due to COVID-19. The party's rules forbid another challenge to his leadership for a year. Well, the 4-day work week is getting a trial run in the UK. The pilot will last for 6 months and involves 3,300 workers across 70 companies. They range from financial services to even restaurants. It's the largest trial of its kind, and workers will not get a pay cut, but will only work 80% of their full week in exchange for 100% productivity. The program is run by a nonprofit called 4-Day Week Global in partnership with researchers from Cambridge, Oxford, and Boston College. Calls for greater flexibility have grown since the start of the pandemic. Companies say this is a way to improve mental health and well-being of workers. Similar 4-day work week trials in the U.S. and Canada will start in October. U.S. Armed Forces and Japan's Self-Defense Forces, or JSDF, held a joint drill on Sunday following North Korea's multiple missile launches on the same day. Officials said in a statement the exercises were to demonstrate the readiness of the U.S.-Japan alliance to respond to regional threats. In a separate statement released on Sunday, the Japan Joint Staff said the bilateral exercise demonstrates the close cooperation between Japan and the United States in addressing the ballistic missile threat and contributes to regional peace and stability. Very few World War II veterans from the U.S. made it to France this year to mark the 78th anniversary of D-Day. But those who did say their memories from that battle are still vivid. Ian Lee has the story from London.
tanks are rolling once again through this small French town to honor the men who fought the Nazis 78 years ago. Just a handful of D-Day veterans returned, now in their 90s. Though their bodies are weak, their pride is just as strong.
I remember some good friends that are lost there. It's a little emotional then.
Back in 1944, an Allied armada floated off Normandy. As troops landed on the beach, metal filled the air. The details of that day are seared into the memory of Raymond Wallace, who was just 18 at the time.
When we started hearing that flak hitting the plane, we all got a little scared then.
The war may seem like a distant memory, but veteran Charles Shea sees similarities in Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
Ukraine is a very sad situation. I feel sorry for the people there.
Shea says today's generation should never forget the lessons of his generation.
They should protect their freedom that they have now.
The greatest generation giving their greatest advice for a better future. Ian Lee, CBS News.
In a bipartisan effort, Congress approved the Congressional Gold Medal to be presented to Army Rangers of World War II who stormed the beaches of Normandy. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back with the news you need to know before you head out the door. Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. The search for 3 Berry County, Missouri escaped inmates is turned over to U.S. Marshals. 29-year-old Lance Stevens, 29-year-old Matthew Crawford, and 37-year-old Christopher Blevins escaped from the Berry County Jail Friday morning. Stevens was being held on drug charges and unlawful use of a weapon. Crawford on felony stealing, and Blevins held on drug charges, vehicle tampering, and unlawful possession of a firearm. The 3 men are considered armed and dangerous. Authorities believe the escapees are no longer in the area, but if you spot them, you're urged to call 911 immediately. Joplin police released the name of a Carthage man killed in a crash on Interstate 44. The crash happened just before 2:30 Sunday morning. They say 44-year-old Juan Fuentes Jr. was driving a motorized scooter in the outside lane of I-44 eastbound when he lost control, crashed, and was thrown from the scooter. Authorities say Fuentes was then struck by multiple passing vehicles. The crash closed the interstate for 3.5 hours. At last report, the Joplin Police Major Crash Team was still looking for witnesses who may have witnessed the initial crash. The city of Miami, Oklahoma has had trouble with flooding for decades, and this Friday, they will host a town hall meeting with the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. The meeting will be open to the public so residents can express concerns and share their experiences with flooding. And Missouri Southern is introducing a new program to help adults get their degrees. The university is launching a new adult degree completion program this fall. The new program will allow for greater flexibility for adult students to get their bachelor's or even master's degrees. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Seeing heavy rain in Montgomery and now Labette County, riding right along the Kansas-Oklahoma state line. Put on the storm track, show you the easterly push that everything has as we now see it crossing into portions of southwest Missouri as well, headed toward I-49. Temperatures in the high 60s, low 70s already, but spotty rain continues into the early afternoon hours until we get a break, and then additional rainfall, more heavy rainfall Wednesday morning. We'll be back right after this.
Doc Antle from the Netflix series Tiger King is facing federal charges in a money laundering case. According to the FBI, the operation helped smuggle undocumented immigrants into the U.S. Tanya Brown reports.
Bhagavan Doc Antle learned the seriousness of the charges against him Monday afternoon during a hearing at the Florence Federal Courthouse. Antle owns Myrtle Beach Safari, which is a 50-acre wildlife preserve. He's best known for his appearance on the Netflix series Tiger King. The show focuses on tiger breeders and private zoo operators. Documents unsealed in the case say Antle and his business partner, Andrew John Sawyer, have laundered $505,000 in cash since February. The indictment says it's all a part of an operation to smuggle illegal immigrants across the Mexican border into the United States. It says the men would launder the cash by providing checks from a business they both controlled. The feds say the checks falsely claimed they were for construction work at the safari, but they were actually a means to allow the immigrants to appear to have a legitimate income. The indictment says Antle and Sawyer got a 15% of the laundered money. People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, or PETA, released a statement after Antle's arrest Friday saying, quote, "It's fitting that Doc Antle is behind bars after years of locking up the endangered animals he uses in tawdry photo ops. His legal woes are mounting as PETA recently blew the whistle on his apparent charity scam, and the end to his reign of terrorizing tiger cubs can't come soon enough."
Antle and Sawyer are both looking at up to 20 years in prison if convicted. They're due back in court on Thursday. We'll be right back with another look at your forecast.
Flooding is going to end up being our main issue once again, especially in southeast Kansas, even though we've had the flood warnings lifted. We're going to break down what we're seeing right now right along the Kansas-Oklahoma state line when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Coming up, U.S. Marshals take over the hunt for 3 escaped Berry County inmates.
Thunderstorms crossing into southwest Missouri, southeast Kansas already inundated, northeast Oklahoma up next. We'll have the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And residents in Miami can soon weigh in on the city's flooding problem.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Block. We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but first we've got rain to talk about now.
I know, but if we were to look east at 7th and Range Line, we'd say, oh, the glow cloud is coming. It's going to be a gorgeous Tuesday morning. We'll have great hues in the 4-state sky. Well, that's because that camera's facing to the east. If we were to face to the west, we got a different story altogether, because that is where the thunderstorm activity is moving in. Let's start down to the south and work our way up to the north. Still dominating portions of Montgomery County, right along the Kansas-Oklahoma state line, now making its way into Lebec County as well, right there along 166 in Edna. We're also going to see 160 get plenty of rain as well. Put the storm tracks into motion, give you an idea of how that's pushing pretty much due east. It's got a little southeasterly movement to it. And then we're starting to see it pop up here in portions of Crawford County in the Girard area, making its way towards southwest Missouri. And then this one that was north of Fort Scott is now in the Rich Hill area, progressing off to the east. And so we're seeing this thing's got legs. It's moving at a good clip, which would normally be a good thing, but we've got plenty of back build to this to get through as well. As far as what we're looking at warning-wise, we've been lucky so far. We do not have any county-wide warnings. We still have our flood warnings for the Neosho, the Osage, and the Little Osage. We lifted the one on the Fall River, but once again, no county-wide flood warnings so far. I reiterate that, so far. Back to 7th and Range Line, 70 degrees. Temperatures haven't been a problem whatsoever, in between 69 and 71. It's if it's not raining in your neck of the woods, jump out right now and grab some fresh air, because almost is upon us. It's going to take a while. Eventually, we'll get up into the 80s with some sunshine this afternoon, but here's what I'm talking about. After these strong ones pass through, it still turns into some spotty rain showers for the rest of the late morning, early afternoon before we clear off. Now, let's talk about Wednesday. Wednesday is going to be more widespread than what we've had past couple of days. Combo, one system to the north, one system to the south, and they combine to form right over the 4 states Wednesday morning. That's going to be thunder, lightning, possibility of hail, but once again, our most important threat for today, tomorrow, and even keeping an eye on it Thursday is going to be flooding.
All right, well, definitely want to keep an eye on those rising levels too. Yes, for sure.
Yep, and we're just eyeballing all those rivers, and once again, it's going to be one of those situations where I know it's going to be a nice warm weekend. You're going to get out on the water and whatnot. But that's something we really need to pay attention to as we get closer to the weekend.
All right. Thanks, Michael. Well, the search for 3 Berry County, Missouri escaped inmates now falls into the hands of the U.S. Marshals. 29-year-old Lance Stevens, 29-year-old Matthew Crawford, and 37-year-old Christopher Blevins escaped from the Berry County Jail Friday morning. Stevens was being held on drug charges and unlawful use of a weapon. Crawford on felony stealing and Blevins on drug charges, vehicle tampering, and unlawful possession of a firearm. The 3 men are considered armed and dangerous. Authorities believe the escapees are no longer in the area, but if you spot them, you're urged to call 911 immediately. Maintenance on electrical lines in Pittsburgh could soon lead to lane closures on some roads. The work will begin tomorrow and continue over the next few weeks. Work will begin at 5 30th Avenue and move east along Centennial Drive to Rouse Street. Once that work has been completed, crews will move north on Rouse Street and end at East Quincy. The work will be on weekdays and should be complete by June 29th, weather permitting. City of Miami, Oklahoma has been experiencing flooding problems for decades, and this Friday, the city will hold a town hall meeting with the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. The meeting will be open to the public so residents can express concerns and share their experiences with flooding.
It's not cheap to defend your position in something like this, especially when you're dealing with a federal regulatory agency, an organization the size of, say, GRDA, and the federal government. And so we have to do our best to make sure that we've got experts involved that can tell our story.
Later in the show, we'll hear from residents of Miami and how flooding has impacted them. Members of the far-right group Proud Boys have been charged with sedition for their alleged part of the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. The new charges come as Washington prepares for a primetime hearing by the House Select Committee investigating the attack. Bradley Blackburn has the latest.
The leader of the far-right Proud Boys, Enrique Tarrio, was already facing charges for his alleged planning of the January 6th assault on the U.S. Capitol. But Monday's indictment raises the stakes. He and 4 other members now face the most serious criminal charge yet, seditious conspiracy. The 5 men previously pleaded not guilty to lesser conspiracy charges. As the judicial process plays out, the House Select Committee investigating January 6th is now focused on the court of public opinion. In a primetime hearing scheduled Thursday, it plans to lay out what it has discovered in a nearly year-long investigation.
The public hasn't seen it woven together, how one thing led to another, how one line of effort to overturn the election led to another.
The special committee, with 7 Democrats and 2 Republican members, has conducted interviews and depositions with key figures close to President Trump. That includes members of his family. Court filings show the committee says it has enough evidence to believe Mr. Trump conspired to defraud the U.S. Republican Vice Chair Liz Cheney recently spoke to CBS News.
Was it a conspiracy? I think certainly. I mean, look, if you look at the court filings,
Do you believe it was a conspiracy?
I do.
Other Republicans have tried to undercut the committee, calling it political. The primetime hearing will reportedly include pre-taped videos and live witnesses, and will kick off a series of hearings that could take weeks. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News.
CBS and other major networks will carry the hearing live in primetime on Thursday. The committee has already completed more than 1,000 interviews. Well, celebration that has persisted for over a century receives its first official recognition on this date in 1979 as the Texas legislature passes a bill declaring Juneteenth a state holiday. The annual June 19th celebration of Emancipation Proclamation, not the announcement itself, but the arrival of the news of the proclamation, is now officially observed in almost all 50 states. The day instantly became an important one to the African American citizens of Texas, who held annual celebrations and even made pilgrimages to Galveston each Juneteenth. In the following decades, most of the country either made Juneteenth a holiday or declared it would officially observe the occasion. And then parades and public celebrations have attracted larger and larger crowds.
And the question, why Galveston, Texas? They were one of the last places to find out that the Civil War had come to an end, that the Emancipation Proclamation had been signed.
Ah, there you go.
Just geographically, that's why. Skywatch Storm Tracker, yeah, we're really picking up right now in Vernon County, and that poses a threat because we've already got flood warnings on the Osage and Little Osage rivers. Crawford County also picking up just to the east side of Girard. That's going to press along Highway 160 and head toward Lamar, and then down to the south. We've been tracking this one in Montgomery County into Labette County all morning long. Starting to see light shower activity right now in the southwest Missouri. This also too, this one in Labette and in Montgomery, that's going to drop down. That's going to clip portions of Ottawa County here in the next 45 minutes to an hour. There you just saw that easterly push. Highs around 84, but we got several more hours of rainfall before we begin to clear off.
And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, our old friend Jasmine Kyle stops by studio to tell us about the latest goings-on at the SEK Humane Society. Plus, one state says it's not waiting for the federal government to make changes to gun laws. It's making its own. And one new study says long COVID patients may also suffer from sleep disturbances. We'll explain. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, Philadelphia authorities say 2 suspects are arrested and charged in connection with a mass shooting that killed 3 people over the weekend. In D.C., there's mounting pressure on lawmakers on Capitol Hill to introduce new gun control measures. Bradley Blackburn with the latest, including one state that decided it's not waiting on Capitol Hill for tighter gun laws.
Weeks after an 18-year-old gunman killed 10 people at a Buffalo supermarket, New York Governor Kathy Hochul signed a new law prohibiting anyone under 21 from buying semi-automatic rifles.
Thoughts and prayers won't fix this, but taking strong action will.
Don't look away!
In Washington Monday, student activists wearing bulletproof vests rallied outside the U.S. Capitol.
How many more funerals do we have to attend? How many more rest in peace shirts do we have to wear? How many more murals do we have to put in our neighborhoods for lawmakers to do their jobs and protect our families?
Bipartisan negotiations are continuing with lawmakers under increasing pressure to reach an agreement on gun control.
They need progress. They need us to show that we care about what kids are going through.
Democratic negotiators say a deal could be completed this week. It would likely center around a proposal that includes enhanced background checks, new incentives for states with red flag laws, as well as investments in school safety and mental health. The White House says President Biden is encouraged by the talks.
There hasn't been a wide-ranging bill passed since 1994.
Republican negotiators insist this is not about restricting the rights of law-abiding gun owners.
We have to be realistic about what can pass, and we know it's not easy.
Survivors and family members of the victims of the Buffalo and Uvalde mass shootings are testifying this week in congressional hearings on gun control. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News.
Among those expected to testify, an 11-year-old Texas girl who smeared herself with the blood of her dead classmate during the rampage to stay alive. Gun Violence Archive says so far this year, the U.S. has had 247 mass shootings, an average of more than one every day, defining a mass shooting as an event where 4 or more people were shot or killed, not including the shooter. That's a look at today's top national story. We'll be right back with Jasmine Kyle from the SEK Humane Society right after this.
All right, welcome back. We've got Jasmine Kyle from the SEK Humane Society joining us, and we've got a lot to talk about this morning.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and kick it off for like an adoption event that you guys have going on this weekend.
Yeah, so this Saturday we're going to be at PetSense from 11 to 2, and we have some puppies that we will have available for the public during that day. I have an amazing border collie mix. Her name is Patty. The public actually named her a few months ago on the Facebook page when we got her and her younger brother in. She's around 4 months of age. She's a border collie husky mix. She has these giant big old husky ears, and she is gorgeous. We will also have Pablo there. He's an 8-month-old red heeler mix, and it is crazy. I've never seen a heeler like this. Heelers usually have lots of spots of them, but he has hundreds. So think of a newborn baby deer. He just looks exactly like that. Medium size, barely comes up above the knee. So Pablo will be there at the event. And then we have a new puppy that we just intook a few weeks ago, and this will be her debut. Her name is Athena. We've had her for about 4 to 5 weeks, and she is a Great Dane mix. She looks like a little Scooby-Doo. At first we were like, oh, you know, maybe she's a hound or healer, and then we looked at the paws, and I was like, oh, we have another Great Dane. So we are super excited, but we will have those 3 younger kids at PetSense this Saturday from 11 to 2. And then this Sunday we have a brand new event, which we have never ever done before, and it's a microchip clinic.
That's cool. And back to the puppies real quick. Summer is actually probably a real good time if you're thinking about introducing a puppy to the family, because you've got your kids at home more.
Yes.
And they can spend more time getting to know them and learning the chores and like just the bonding time.
Absolutely, especially like you said with your kids being at home, but you're way more active during the spring, summer, and fall time. Fall is a little bit iffy because you've got school and you're getting into the school and school programs, but spring and summer, especially summer, that's a dead go. If you are looking into really adding another family household member, there's a lot more time in the summer to get that bonding experience, especially a lot of outdoor time too. So definitely if you're looking right now, now's the time.
Okay, now back to the microchipping.
Yeah.
This is an event that you have going on Sunday.
Yeah, this Sunday, and we have never done this before. It is a microchip clinic to the public. We're currently selling vouchers at our doggy bag resale shop today, actually. It's from this Tuesday through this Friday. The store is open from 11 to 6. I have 10 more spots left. And it's only $20 as well. I started this program because we gotten so many calls, and what we have seen here recently in just the past 6 months alone is a lot of lost animals, unfortunately. A lot of people losing their dogs due to collars coming off or tags not being put on collars, because when you're at home, a lot of people will take those off, right? They think of them as a decoration, but all it takes, unfortunately, is that back door being left open. Is a guest coming over, is, especially with the 4th of July coming up, one of the most popular and known holidays where animals go missing because of those fireworks. Please, if it's not through us, go through your vet. But why we started the program is the price of microchipping in the Southeast Kansas area varies and is usually on the higher side. So we wanted to make it more available to our community. So we wanted to test the waters to see how our community needs this program. So we limited it to 20 spots. And then right now I still have 10. When you go purchase a voucher for dogs, you have to show us rabies vaccine. That's our only requirement. And we're doing cats too. So cats and dogs. So take advantage of the opportunity. Because again, 1 in 3 pets go missing every single day.
Talk to me about how microchipping works.
Yeah, so if you've never seen a microchip before, think of a grain of rice. It is a little tiny electronic transmitter, and it's loaded up into a needle. It literally only takes 3 seconds. That's it. So with us, for our microchips, our information is always loaded on them. That way, if an animal goes missing, we always get contacted. That's why all of our adoptable animals are already microchipped. But for the public, when you get a microchip done, microchip goes in really quick. You're handed paperwork like you will be this Sunday if you're signed up for this program. You go home. It takes 2 minutes to go to the website and enter your information. And I'm not kidding you. As soon as you hit that enter button, all of your data is transferred to that microchip in 6 seconds.
Wow.
That quick. And it's really quick. So you're talking about a 3-second procedure, 2 minutes of you typing your information in, and that animal is set for life with you. So, and that's what a lot of the public doesn't realize too. For us, for animal control facilities, for other shelter control facilities as well, we always microchip an intake an animal. Whether it's somebody surrendering a dog that they've had for a while or a stray that they've picked up, we always microchip scan. I know for a fact that the city of Pittsburgh Animal Control does, Joplin Animal Control does. A lot of facilities are doing this because we want the animals to go to their homes, right? This is the first thing we check for.
So you guys have a scanner or something that checks for them. Animal Control has that scanner, and then it just pops up information who's the owner, and
it'll actually come up with a barcode ID, and we're able to input that in our computer systems, and it'll pop up with your information. So the only thing that we will say, if you ever move, you need to go onto that website and update your information. But on this, you can enter your phone number, your address, multiple contacts, the whole 9 yards.
That's
and
awesome.
It's that simple. So yes, you can always have collar and tag, but especially for cats who really, if you have a collar and they're indoor, outdoor, they really need to be snap away just in case they get caught in something. If that collar is ever lost, you have that backup that's already in them ready to go.
That's awesome. All right, well, there's so much more I want to talk about, especially a big event coming back in October. Looking forward to that. But I'm going to have you stick around for our Fox show and do that a little bit later.
Sounds good.
All right, we'll be right back.
Topping Health Watch this morning, more than 40% of people battling long COVID experience moderate to severe sleep disturbances. Doctors at Cleveland Clinic say Black patients are 3 times more likely to deal with those sleep disturbances. Long COVID patients with higher body mass indices or struggling with anxiety disorders are also impacted. That's a look at one of today's top health stories as you're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Coming up, U.S. Marshals take over the hunt for 3 escaped Berry County inmates.
Got a new thunderstorm cell that has just arrived in the 4 states. We'll bring you the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And residents in Miami can soon weigh in on the city's flooding problem.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's now 6:28. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but first, let's go to Michael Hayslip.
We've taken the Joplin Tower Skycam, Tanya, just about here, there, in every direction this morning, and now we face off to the north where you start to see the clouds reach higher and higher up in the 4-state sky, an indicator of this storm system that is now moving just over the state line out of Pittsburgh and Frontenac, and now riding 126 and 160 toward Lamar. Thank you, Ms. Bach. Very heavy rain involved with this on the north side of 160 as well, to go along with huge amount of lightning strikes. We've yet to pick up any from our tower cam, but certainly the lightning tracker making them very, very prevalent. So that's the newest one with the most intense rain. The other one that we've been following all morning long, Montgomery County into Labette County, and we're starting to see it spread just south of the Kansas-Oklahoma state line into portions of Ottawa County as well. So everything continuing to move off to the east, and then this one on the other side now of Rich Hill headed towards Shell City. So we've got pockets of very heavy rain as we see the shower activity continue to spread into southwest Missouri. Here's the storm tracks. Like I said, that's our cheater cone, if you will. Gives us an idea of how everything's pushing to southeast. That being said, we actually do not have any countywide flood warnings as of yet. So far, so good. Not going to be surprised if Montgomery County and Labette County don't pop those at some point in time. And of course, we know the Neosho River is certainly going to maintain its flood stages all the way into the weekend. 70 degrees right now in Joplin. Temperatures have not been problematic at all. Even when a system rolls through, we only drop a couple degrees. So 68 to 71, pretty comfortable. Let's get down to brass tacks and talk about today into tomorrow. As the rain dissipates for later this morning, we get a little bit clipped down to the south for the early afternoon. We clear off this evening, get a little sunshine, work up into the 80s, so it'll be humid once again. Now, Wednesday morning, here we roll. Top of your screen, bottom of your screen, 2 separate systems. Watch that. Combo on us. About 7 a.m. tomorrow, lasting until about, say early afternoon. And the humidity is going to stick around all week long. So those afternoons when we do get breaks from our rain, be prepared for it to feel a high 80s, low 90s there until we get into Friday and Saturday.
All right, well, at least we'll lose a little of that humidity this weekend.
We will. We need that system on Friday to roll through. That'll disperse the humidity, but at that point in time, we're going to be talking about 5 consecutive days of rain.
Yeah, well.
I was watching the College World Series yesterday. Heat index in Oklahoma City, 101.
Ooh, not cool.
And their temperature was only 87.
I know, that's crazy. That's crazy. All right, thanks, Michael. Well, Joplin police released the name of a Carthage man killed in a crash on Interstate 44. The crash happened just before 2:30 Sunday morning. Police say 44-year-old Juan Fuentes Jr. was driving a motorized scooter in the outside lane of I-44 eastbound when he lost control, crashed, and was thrown from the scooter. Authorities say Fuentes was then struck by multiple passing vehicles. The crash closed the interstate for 3.5 hours. At last report, the Joplin Police Major Crash Team was still looking for witnesses who may have witnessed the initial crash. The search for 3 Berry County, Missouri escaped inmates now falls into the hands of the U.S. Marshals. 29-year-old Lance Stevens, 29-year-old Matthew Crawford, and 37-year-old Christopher Blevins escaped from the Berry County Jail Friday morning. Stephens was being held on drug charges and unlawful use of a weapon. Crawford on felony stealing and Blevins on drug charges, vehicle tampering, and unlawful possession of a firearm. The 3 men are considered armed and dangerous. Authorities believe the escapees are no longer in the area, but if you spot them, you're urged to call 911 immediately. A federal judge in Oklahoma rules the state's 3-drug lethal injection method is constitutional. The ruling paves the way for the state to request execution dates for more than 24 death row inmates who were plaintiffs in the case. Attorneys for those inmates are expected to appeal the ruling. They argue the first of the 3 drugs, the sedative midazolam, is not enough to render an inmate unable to feel pain. Attorneys for the state rejected that argument. The city of Miami, Oklahoma has had trouble with flooding for decades. Residents hope a public meeting this week will help address the issue. KOAM's Jalen Banks has more.
The city of Miami has been battling flooding for decades, and they hope by holding their town hall meeting this Friday that they will change the fortunes of the city for better moving forward. The meeting will be open to the public, giving residents a chance to share their thoughts on the issue, and in attendance will be FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, who will assess the relicensing and how the GRDA will operate the dam. The city, along with 456 property owners, are in the middle of a civil lawsuit with the GRDA, claiming that their operation of the Pensacola project caused repetitive flooding for the area, most notably in 2007.
And it has been a continual issue that just continues to get worse and worse. And one of the things that Miami has been doing is pretty much trying to somewhat defend itself and make sure that we had a voice.
Jim Knotts, owner of Knotts Grocery, reflects on that 2007 flood and the ongoing bout since.
2007 we had the major flood, the substantial, total dam, total devastation. We had to redo the store, and so it's been often, way too often, or it seems like, obviously to me, it's way too often.
Other residents expressed their concerns about the flooding and how the losses compare to other local catastrophes.
It's just devastating to lose everything that you have when something like this occurs. The only thing I can compare it to is when Joplin went through the tornado up there. That's about the feeling. You're walking around in a loss. It's a sad thing to see everybody go through this, and every time it rains you just live in fear, and to think that you're going to lose your stuff.
In Miami, Oklahoma, Jalen Banks, KOAM News.
We reached out to the GRDA for comment but have not heard back. An area tribal leader gets commemorated on coins. Wilma Mankiller was the first woman to serve as principal chief of the Cherokee Nation. On Monday, the U.S. Mint released the 3rd of its American Women Quarters program featuring Mankiller. Officials say the depiction shows Mankiller in a traditional shawl looking to the future with the 7-point star of the Cherokee Nation at her side. That's pretty cool. On this date, back in 1962, though, the banking institution Credit Suisse opens the first drive-through bank in Switzerland, St. Peterstrasse 17 in downtown Zurich. Like many developments in automotive culture, including drive-through restaurants and drive-through movies, drive-through banking has its origins in the United States. By the 1970s, the automobile's popularity had led to a major traffic problem in downtown Zurich, and fewer drivers opted to stop to do their banking from their cars. After years without a profit, the Zurich Bank closed the drive-through in 1983. In the United States, by contrast, drive-through banking never lost its popularity. Nearly all major banks nationwide offer some type of drive-through option, from regular teller service to 24-hour automated teller machines.
That's crazy that they shut it down.
Yeah.
Seems like more places now, and I say this even taking the pandemic into account, more places now you can find, it's easier to find a drive-through than it is to find a lobby that's open.
Well, they're so busy, they have multiple lanes open, you know?
Yeah. All right, Tanya, I want to point out our pockets on the Skywatch Storm Tracker. The pockets of the heavy rain also packing some serious lightning. And so flooding and lightning are main threats Really been picking on this one right here that has made its way across the state line into southwest Missouri, moving east along 160 and 126. Of course, that's not a long gap, but right now hanging over Highway 43, and it's going to progress east toward 49. This one over Montgomery County into Labette County, this is problematic because this thing is not moving. And of course, that's going to exacerbate our flooding concerns.
All right, that's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News, the summer movie box office heats up.
It's been a tough few years for Hollywood. I'm Michelle Medina with how studios are banking on summer blockbusters to bring people back to.
Plus, we meet twins who just celebrated their 102nd birthday. These two women have done a lot of living, and it made us wonder if you have things on your bucket list you haven't done yet. We'll let you weigh in. We'll be right back. In Consumer Watch this morning, after a rough 2 years for Hollywood productions and movie theaters, the summer blockbuster is back. The film industry plans a packed schedule with not only Tom Cruise, but Elvis, Thor, and plenty of dinosaurs. Nichelle Medina has a preview of the summer blockbuster season and the business boom theaters are anticipating.
That's something worth fighting for.
The summer blockbuster season is set to sizzle. Hollywood is looking to flex its muscle after 2 pandemic-plagued years kept people out of theaters. Top Gun Maverick shattered Memorial Day box office records at Mach speed, bringing in more than $150 million domestically. And that could be just the beginning.
Fingers are crossed that Top Gun Maverick has started a trend.
Variety senior editor Mark Malkin says Hollywood is working hard to entice audiences to return to struggling theaters with high-budget films led by major movie stars.
Right now, there is something for everyone. There's a lot of family entertainment, and that, of course, brings people to the theaters.
According to Fandango, 83% of its ticket buyers plan to see 3 or more movies on the big screen this summer, and there are a number of big hits ahead.
He was no ordinary man. He was a god.
Chris Hemsworth electrifies in Thor: Love and Thunder in July.
Hey, girl.
Chris Pratt and his prehistoric co-stars stomp into theaters in Jurassic World Dominion.
Good luck, Captain. We're counting on you!
Roger that.
Also this month, it's to infinity and beyond in Pixar's Lightyear.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's Elvis Presley.
And Austin Butler stars as Elvis in the upcoming musical biopic.
I think theater owners are looking at this summer saying, you know what, now we could finally go back to normal, but it's always going to be a new normal. It's never going to be the way it was.
But a jam-packed summer slate to thrill fans and boost theaters may make going to the movies the new normal. Nichelle Medina, CBS News, Los Angeles.
I might have to see all of those with my family. Well, Malkin adds that while audiences will return to the theater for big blockbuster type movies, smaller independent films may still struggle to get people to the movies. That's it for Consumer Watch. Let's go over to Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Tanya. This morning on the KOAM News Now Insta Poll discussing bucket lists. A set of twins recently set a milestone celebrating their 102nd birthday. One of them lives in Kansas, the other lives in San Francisco. When asked what her favorite birthday memory was, the twin located in Kansas, her name is Eloise, said too many birthdays to remember to pick her favorite birthday memory. So how did she celebrate? How about a party in the style of the Roaring '20s? Our question for you this morning is, what is one thing on your bucket list? And while 34% of you have gone with the vaunted other, right now coming in second place, 28% is travel. And then 16% right below that make a positive change. You can take part each and every morning. KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Also, connect to us via our Facebook page at KOAM News Now. We're going to come back, celebrate birthdays and anniversaries, but first to the Big Apple. Let's check in with Nate.
I'm Nate Burleson. Coming up on CBS Mornings, just in time for summer, Oprah has her latest book club selection. We've been waiting for it. That's coming up on CBS Mornings.
We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, James Dunlap. A native of Fort Scott, Kansas, served in Korea from 1949 to 1952 as military police. To James Dunlap, we thank you, today's four-state hero.
Our birthday list begins with a sharp-dressed man by the name of Lincoln Winter, who's celebrating his first birthday. Lincoln, a very happy birthday to you. He's in St. Paul.
All right, and we've got Randa Joe Smith. What a cutie there. Turning 6 years old this year in Oswego.
Rocking those shades right there. Matthew Rush Jr. celebrating number 9, ready to get out on the ball field. I'll get rid of this rain for you, Matthew. We'll get a little action in this weekend. This birthday wish comes with love from Dad, Mom, and Leah.
All right. Happy birthday, Maddie. All right, and Braden Reynolds is turning 17 years old this year in Sarcoxie. Hope you have a great one.
Samantha Guy, she is in Walnut, and Samantha works at Norris Outdoor Advertising in Girard. So everybody out at Norris, or if you run by Norris today, make sure you wish Samantha a very happy 24th.
All right. Austin Pitts celebrating birthday number 30 this year. Looks like he's got a lot to celebrate there. Pictured with his 3 children. One of them, you might remember Aniston, who had a birthday yesterday. That's pretty cool. They're all in Chanute.
Between graduations, excuse me, and birthdays, I bet you it's been a busy month for the Pitts family there. Roberta Koger is celebrating her 88th birthday, and Roberta, she has 7 children of her own, 18 grandchildren, and 23 great-grandchildren. Roberta, I bet you are going to have one heck of a party, and a very happy birthday to you in Parsons.
Awesome. In Thayer, Kansas, Nancy Holtzman. What a wonderful picture there of Nancy and her family there. Celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday, Nancy.
Josh and Jamie Horton are celebrating 2 decades of marriage. Congratulations to the Hortons. Josh happens to be one of our 4-state heroes as well. And Josh and Jamie, congratulations in Carthage.
All right, I love that picture. Eugene and Lori Meyer celebrating 25 years together. Wonderful throwback wedding picture there in Sarcoxie. Happy anniversary.
Jerry and Kathy Alsdorf, their 31st anniversary. Congratulations, Jerry and Kathy are in Carthage.
All right. And Junior and Ara Mae Whitley celebrating 40 years together. Lovely picture of the couple there in Altamont. Happy anniversary.
We've got 64 years, my goodness. Jim and Wilma Lawson. Congratulations, Jim and Wilma. And please know, these anniversary wishes come with love from all of the kids.
All right, and Romy and Joanne Phillips are celebrating 69 years together. All right, they're in Moundville, Missouri. Congratulations to the Phillips.
Oh, we got a who that is. This woman right here is it lights up our lives, always puts a smile on her face, and always has a hug for us as well. Her name is Nancy Evans, and Miss Nancy has worked with us for as long as I can remember.
Tried to leave us, but we said, nope, you have to keep coming back.
Yeah, she tried. We were like, no, Nance, we can't do this without you. Come back, please. Nancy, a very happy birthday. I hope you know how much we love you, and I can't wait to see you soon. And I want one of those classic Nancy Evans hugs, please.
Aw. All right, happy birthday, Nancy. I hope you have a wonderful day. And Eileen Bagando is celebrating a birthday in Weir, Kansas. Colton Bunce turned 17 in Baxter Springs. And Benekes are celebrating an anniversary in Parsons. Happy 63rd to William and Shirley, with congratulations coming from Chris, Karen, David, Ethan, Aiden, and Landon.
A happy birthday and happy anniversary to all. Here's where you can submit those pictures, birthdays, at KOAMTV.com. You can also go to our website at KOAMNewsNow.com. Now here's Tanya Bach with a very important birthday announcement.
That's right, you can be a part of the KOAM Birthday Club. All you have to do is go to our website and sign up. And once you do, you'll get special deals from local businesses. Go to KOAMNewsNow.com. Sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club today.
Coming up when the KOAM Morning News transitions over to Fox 14, Apple announcing big changes to the iPhone operating system. And some of those changes are what users have been asking for, like the ability to unsend a text after it's already been sent. My goodness, why would you ever want to do something like that? We'll break down exactly the new features when we transition over to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Let's check out our pockets of thunderstorm activity that we're currently tracking with the lightning, especially the one that's pushed now into Barton County in between 126 and 160. It is now squarely in between the north-south routes of Highway 43 and I-49. So if you're going to be on 49 anytime soon, no, that's what you're going to run into. This one over Montgomery County into Labette County is now trying to make its way into Cherokee County as well. That thing, just because it's been very stagnant, is going to reap some pretty big numbers precipitation-wise. And then we're tracking about 3 different pockets in the far northeastern section of southwest Missouri as everything pushes east-southeast with plenty more to go behind it. We get a little break right there, so at least we're progressing. Also, too, no county-wide flood warnings as of yet. So far, so good. Be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. The search for 3 Berry County, Missouri escaped inmates is turned over to U.S. Marshals. 29-year-old Lance Stevens, 29-year-old Matthew Crawford, and 37-year-old Christopher Blevins escaped from the Berry County Jail Friday morning. Stevens was being held on drug charges and unlawful use of a weapon. Crawford was held on felony stealing and Blevins on drug charges, vehicle tampering, and unlawful possession of a firearm. The 3 men are considered armed and dangerous. Authorities believe the escapees are no longer in the area, but if you spot them, you are urged to call 911 immediately. Joplin police released the name of a Carthage man killed in a crash on Interstate 44. The crash happened just before 2:30 Sunday morning. Police say 44-year-old Juan Fuentes Jr. was driving a motorized scooter in the outside lane of I-44 eastbound. He lost control, crashed, and was thrown from the scooter. Authorities say Fuentes was then struck by multiple passing vehicles. The crash closed the interstate for 3.5 hours. Last report, the Joplin Police major crash team was still looking for witnesses who may have witnessed the initial crash. City of Miami, Oklahoma has had trouble dealing with flooding for decades. This Friday, they will hold a town hall meeting with the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. The meeting will be open to the public so residents can express concerns and share their experiences with flooding. Missouri Southern is introducing a new program to help adults get their degrees. University is launching a new adult degree completion program this fall. The new program will allow for greater flexibility for adult students to get their bachelor's or even master's degrees. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
I think we had a little rain in Missouri Southern today. There's just a segue into weather. Perhaps, perhaps, especially with the Neosho River running through the Miami Commerce area. That could be problematic as well because the heavy rain is going to persist in these little pockets. It's not widespread, it's more pocketed, minus that one, of course, that's anywhere from Montgomery all the way through Labette, now pushing into Cherokee. And look at that, down by Ottawa County and Miami as well. As far as our temperatures go today, this is going to last till late morning hours. Similar in nature to yesterday. We're going to warm up into the 80s. It's going to be quite humid. Now remember, we've got additional rainfall headed our way for tomorrow morning. Combo of 2 systems, one from the north, one from the south, as they collide upon each other right there for the morning commute. Flooding is going to be our main concern. I'm not going to discount the possibility of some hail tomorrow morning as well. Winds right now, we're looking at 30 to 35 miles per hour.
All right. Well, coming up today at noon, we're making caprese stuffed portobellos in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Morning news continues on KOAM. CBS Mornings next as CBS Sports and Turner Sports men's basketball analysis. Some dude named Grant Hill. He's live in studio to talk about his autobiography, Game. That's ahead on CBS Mornings. Or switch on over, join us on Fox 14 as Tanya and I continue to track the thunderstorm activity. That wraps it up for this Tuesday edition. Stay dry, be safe. We'll do this all again tomorrow morning.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.